What's going on, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the Outside the Octagon podcast. I'm your host, Charleston Payne, joining us again through Zoom for this UFC 308 or 305 preview. Sorry, UFC 305 preview. Jude Starnes. Jude, how you doing today, bud?
Doing good as always when I'm on the podcast. You already know.
Yeah, man. First of all, I want to start off with two things. Go follow us on Instagram at Outside the Octagon Pod _ I guess three things. Second of all, subscribe, hit that thumbs up, leave a comment if you think we missed on any takes or anything like that. Leave a comment if you want to see other content, whatever, Go ahead and drop some stuff in the comment section. Let us know what you're thinking. Third, Prowler Pickles. Go get yourself some pickles. They just Miranda just released a new honey line as well. Go check out the honey, check out some pickles. ProwlerPickles.com. Use code OTO10 at checkout to get 10% off your order. Very incredible pickles, great product. Jude, you got anything else you want to say to get the show started off before we start getting into these predictions?
Like you said, pretty much everything that you said. Giveaways are coming when we start to reach milestones. The views are way up. We're starting to accomplish goals. We're really starting to grow, and I'm pretty excited about the future of this podcast.
Absolutely, man. But what I'm looking forward to is Saturday night, me personally.
Oh, for sure. And we're going to talk about that. Yeah,
we talk about that daily. But Saturday night, what's next for us? It's going to be a UFC event. I'm probably going to be wearing my Max Holloway shirt again while I'm watching it. But we got Li Jingling is going to be the first fight we're going to talk about versus Carlos Prates. Personally, I got to go with Carlos here. He's got the 7-inch reach advantage, significant strikes landed per minute, slightly less than Li Jingling. But he's on a 5-fight win streak with knockouts. Carlos Prates is. He's only 30 years old, and the reach advantage is just huge here. And he's already a huge favorite at -300, I believe. So I don't see there's any reason not to lean his way.
Yeah, and I get where you're coming from there for sure. But I think my dog of the night may be Li Jingling, honestly. And here's my reasons. It is because his last 5 fights, Carlos's last 5 fights have been knockouts. Also, Carlos doesn't have the UFC experience. He's only had 3 UFC fights now. But I know that sounds crazy. Li Jingling's 10-0. He's never been knocked out. So that's a fact. We all know he has a chin if you've watched him at all. He's also never lost 2 straight. And if you know anything about UFC, it's very rare when you see a guy that's got this much experience. He's been in the UFC since, 2014, UFC 173. So when you got a guy with this much experience, he's never lost 2 straight. Maybe he's never won a title or never been insane, but it is hard to break that streak. So when he hasn't lost 2 in a row ever, it's hard for me to lean against him. He's got the experience, and I think that he's going to get a bounce-back win. But I definitely see where you're coming from.
Yeah, sometimes I do feel like MMA kind of runs on streaks a little bit, like even with Poirier, Poirier, every time he's lost a fight, he comes back and wins by knockout next, almost every single time. So especially, first of all, we got to talk about this now that I brought up Poirier. If they bring that shit to Lafayette, Louisiana, dude, I would probably pay upwards of $5,000 to be on the floor.
Yeah, I mean, they better bring it to Louisiana. They need to bring
for his last fight. You have to do that. You have no other
or option. Even New Orleans, even NOLA. Like, if you want to bring it to NOLA, even Raising Cane River Center, bro, just bring it somewhere around here, bro. It doesn't even have to be that big of an event. Please, Dana, please.
I'm begging Uncle Dana for this, man. I think he's gonna. I think he might pull through, man. I mean, the Cajun Dome's a great venue to do it. You got Smoothie King down there in NOLA, great venue to do it. And, of course, like you just said, the River Center. I mean, all 3 of those are perfect venues for a UFC fight night. It's going to bring in a huge crowd. I mean, it's probably going to – I mean, if I had to guess, I would probably say that it would be a record gate for a fight night.
I think that definitely sell out.
I think it would shatter the hell out of St. Louis's records.
For sure. And I think that if Dana White doesn't do this, at some point, if I ever see him, I will oil him up. I will keep a bottle of oil in my car, and I'm going to oil him up myself if he doesn't make this happen. So, simple as that.
I like it, man. Next fight I want to talk about, though, Jarzino Rosenstreich versus Tai Tuivasa. Oh, man, I mean, we've seen Tai Tuivasa fight a few times recently. Hasn't really went his way. I think he's kind of on a downhill slide right now, and I don't really think he comes out of that against Jarzino Rosenstreich, just to keep it very honest with you guys. I think Jarzino Rosenstreich wins this fight. Highly likelihood it's going to be by knockout.
and I see where you're coming from as well. I feel like with these heavyweights, it's so hard to predict. And if you've watched heavyweight fights, you know how it goes. I mean, especially guys that aren't necessarily great grapplers. When you have two strikers, it could go any way, any night. So to me, I think that Tuivasa, it hasn't been going his way. He's still young. He's only 31 years old. Southpaw versus Orthodox tends to lean towards the Southpaw. I believe that Tuivasa is going to beat Rosenstreich on the feet. And I think as long as it stays on the feet, Ty's going to win this fight and he's going to get back in the win column. And I hope to see that. And I want to see that shoey. You already know.
All right. First of all, I will step out and say this. I don't want Tai Tuivasa to lose. Like, I'm going to throw down in my living room if Tai Tuivasa wins, for one. Because, I mean, I kind of miss whenever that guy was out there running around the shoeys, running the octagon. I miss those days, man. I miss good Tai Tuivasa, and I want to see that back again really badly. So I would love to see him win. Me personally, though, I don't necessarily think that that's going to happen.
Just have to disagree on that one. I think that I know that the 4-fight losing streak can be, it can be hard to pick for him when he's on a 4-fight tear, But at the same time, I don't think Rosenstreich's overly dangerous. And I think Ty can pull it off, and I think he's going to pull it off. I think you're going to be seeing that shoey, baby.
I would love to see it, man. I'm not even going to lie. And one thing for sure, this is probably the only fight that I'm like this on for my predictions. But I would probably have to say that there is maybe a potential chance that I change that pick come Saturday whenever you see our official picks drop on the Instagram.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, I'm ready for this next fight that we're going to talk about too as well. I think it's going to be great.
You talking about Mateus Gamrot and Dan Hooker?
Yeah, I mean, I just love hookers personally. I love me a good old hooker, so I like Dan Hooker really. But I'll let you give your take if you want to do that first, or we can go either way.
Yeah, man. Again, kind of the same as the last fight for me on this one. I think Mateus Gamrot wins. I would much rather see Dan Hooker get it done. It's hard to go against Mateus Gamrot. He's 24-2. Absolutely great fighter. I don't see any reason to bet against him here. I'm pretty set in stone with that pick. Very high percentage on the takedowns, very good takedown accuracy. I don't see Mateus Gamrot not winning this fight, although I would love to see Dan Hooker win it.
I'm not going to lie. Personally, I think that Dan Hooker, you're never going to I don't think that he could really be knocked out, at least not by Gamrot. It's hard for anybody to knock him out. One thing he's proved is he's definitely got a chance. As much as I love hookers, I can't really go against it. I have to go with Gamrot here. I think he's better on the ground. I think it's hard to pick against the American top team guy, but in general, and Gamrot is a top team guy. So I believe that Gamrot will win. He's just too inferior on the ground. I mean, is that the right word? I don't believe that's the right word.
It felt like it.
He's much better. He's much better on the ground. My bad. I had a little dust, I guess. I don't know what you would say there, but I had a little brain for it, I guess. But I think Gamrot wins for sure.
Yeah, I got to go Gamrot in that one. The next fight, I think, is going to be a showdown. I think this is one of the better co-main events of the year, to be completely honest with you.
Oh, for sure.
Kara France versus Steve Erseg is going to be an absolute fireworks show. It's going to be so much fun to watch. Myself, personally, I got to take the Astro Boy Steve Erseg. I think that people are kind of leaning towards Kara France, and that's only because of Erseg's performance against Pantoja. But what they don't remember about Erseg's performance against Pantoja is that Erseg quite possibly had a way to win that fight had he not went for the takedown in the 5th round. I think that if he doesn't go for the takedown in the 5th round, he might would have been the first guy to beat Pantoja in a very, very, very long time, because Pantoja at the moment is just tearing through flyweights like it's nothing, like it's nobody's business. I thought Steve Erseg was going to be the guy to dethrone him. Unfortunately, he wasn't. I think this is his bounce back fight. I think he beats the hell out of Kara France, and we get to see an Erseg title run coming again soon.
You know what I think? I think that there's a lot on the line for both of these guys. Kara France is coming off a 2-fight losing streak as well, one by knockout in the championship to Brandon Moreno. And then he had the loss by decision to, I don't even know how to say his name, so I'm not even going to attempt that. Amir Albazi or whatever.
Yeah,
But I can't ever say his name right. But I think Kyle France, he's just got a little more experience. I think he's a little more in his prime. I think Steve Erseg will hold the belt at some point. I think he is going to dominate the division, but I think he's got probably 3 fights. I think after this fight, he'll go on a 2-fight win streak. He'll get his title shot, and he will win the belt, and he'll dominate the division for a minute there. But I think Kyle France wins this fight. I think that you should see absolute brawl. I think both these guys are really good on the feet, in my personal opinion, and very, very technical strikers, I believe.
Yeah, for flyweights, these guys are very good strikers. I mean, it's going to be, like I said, it's going to be a fireworks show. You're not going to want to miss that fight. I think it's going to be incredible. Like I said already, I think it's going to be one of the best co-main events of the year. And if I had to make a particular pick on how I think that this fight will end, I think I'd have to go Steve Erseg by points. I think he goes to the decision and gets the job done there. But it's going to be a very fun fight to watch. And again, it could go either way. Like Jude, like you said, a lot on the line for both of these guys. But I just think Astro Boy is going to take it home with him, and he's going to go on that title run very soon. I kind of agree with you again as well on the whole 2-fight win streak thing. He wins this one, wins 2 more fights, takes over the belt. I think he needs a little bit more experience underneath him before he goes for another title shot. He was the 10th ranked guy coming into that title shot against Pantoja, and he only had a handful of UFC fights going into that. So, I mean, for him to go out there and do what he did against Pantoja at such a young age proved to me that at some point he will be a champion, and he's going to be very hard to beat. We're going to be talking about him as one of the greatest of the flyweight division, up there with Mighty Mouse Demetrius Johnson, or as Brandon DeRoche referred to him as, Mighty Rat. Mighty Rat, you got Pantoja obviously, and then Steve Erseg is going to be right up there with those guys for the greatest of that division, in my opinion.
Yeah, definitely. I don't necessarily disagree. The only thing I disagree on, I think that it's not quite his time. I think Kyle France is going to win this fight and really make a name for himself maybe in this fight, because I think that people do realize, though, that Steve Erseg is a real contender now. Like, I think after that fight, they really realized, well, man, he is a contender for sure. He's not there yet, but he's a contender. And he's gotten better each time he gets in the octagon. That's always something I like to look at for sure to judge a guy. Like, has he improved? Not the win or the loss, because sometimes they lose, but it's like you could definitely see improvement. They was just fighting above their caliber at the current moment. But that's the way you get better, and Steve Erseg's been doing that, and he's been pulling off wins. That last fight he fought above, and he just couldn't quite pull it off, but he definitely showed that he's a contender for a long time.
I agree, man. Steve Erseg by points, though, is what I got to go with. I want to know how you think that if since you say Kyle France wins, how do you think he wins? You think it's decision, knockout, sub? Probably not. I have to assume.
Yeah, and we said that they're both very technical, in my opinion, strikers. And typically, when you see that, you really don't see too many knockouts. So I almost have to lean towards points, but I wouldn't. I think that if there's a knockout, it's in the later rounds. I don't really see a submission happening. Like, it definitely could. Obviously, anything can happen, but I think the likelihood of a submission's not high. But I think the fight definitely is. I think it should be an easy over on the rounds, because I think it's going to end very late in the fight if it ends. But I'm going to take Kyle France by decision, by points.
I like it. I like it. I respect it. I don't think we've agreed yet.
Yeah, this has been a rarity.
No, you had Mateus with me, didn't you?
Yeah.
Aside from that, I mean, dude, I think this is the card we ordered the clown mask for, dude.
Hey, but I really think we have a good reason on this one. Like, we have a good reason. Like, a lot of these fights, even if you go look in the odds, a lot of them are really close fights. Like, most of them are, other than the Li Jingling Carlos fight and the Gamrot fight. But we both picked Gamrot. But other than that, they're all almost even. The Adesanya Duplessis is pretty much even, pretty much dead even, according to ESPN at least.
Right. Yeah. I mean, they got that fight as a pick 'em right now on the odds. But obviously, there's one fight left to talk about. That's the one. Israel, the last style bender. Adesanya is going to be taking on Dricus Does he even have a nickname, Duplessis?
Yeah, I don't know that he honestly
I don't
does.
think that he does, to be honest. But you know what? I could be wrong. We're not perfect, you know. Let me check into that. I don't think I see a nickname on here. Yeah. Oh, Still Knox. I forgot about that. Yeah, Still Knox. Whatever, dude. He's gonna lose.
I didn't know that. Do people actually know that? Like, if you're watching right now, let me know in the comments if you actually knew DDP's nickname, because I honestly did not know that he had one, to be honest.
Yeah, I feel like I knew it. I'm pretty sure I did know that, but I mean, obviously, it just didn't roll off the tongue, off rip. So I wasn't as familiarized with it as maybe I should have been.
Yeah, it's obviously not the right nickname. It's not a great nickname for
Yeah,
sure.
honestly, bro, I don't care. Israel Adesanya is gonna win by knockout. We haven't seen contender Izzy in a while, and when we do see contender Izzy, it's a different Izzy. I think that there's no way in hell that Israel Adesanya does not beat Dricus Duplessis, and I think he does it by knockout. I'm not trying to sound like Kenny Okoye. I've never been a big Izzy fan by any means. Sure, I liked how active he was in the middleweight division as his title reign. You know, I think he's one of the greatest ever in the middleweight division. I won't lie about that. I've just never been that huge on the Izzy hype train. I do believe that Izzy wins this fight by knockout, though, because, like I said, we haven't seen contender Izzy in forever, and I don't think that there's any way that Dricus is the guy that's going to slow him down.
All right. Well, I haven't decided honestly yet, so I'm going to read some stuff off paper, and tell you kind of what I think. But I'm going to decide at the end of all this, so don't take this as being biased towards any guy. I'm literally looking at it and pretty much deciding right now. I did watch them both fight Sean Strickland prior to the episode, but dude, it was a lot to take in, and it's really hard to pick this fight to me. Like, I think the odds are really right. I mean, DDP don't really get his respect, but on paper, his resume is really good. This unanimous decision against Brad Tavares, submission against Darren Till, the decision win against Sean Strickland. A lot of people forget his knockouts against Derek Brunson and Robert Whitaker. He's on an absolute tear, to be honest. The Sean Strickland win, very controversial win, but on paper, it's there, And then you go look at Izzy. He's got the loss to Alex Pereira. You can't really hold that against him. He got back, won against Alex Pereira, and then lost to Sean Strickland. Hasn't fought since. What I will tell you is a picture surface of Izzy a day, and he looks a lot bigger. He looks like he filled out his frame a lot. He looks like he's really been taking the training and time off very serious, and that could benefit or hurt you. But with that being said, I think I'm going to have to side with you on this. I think that Izzy gets a knockout. I just feel like, you got to keep a lot of forward pressure. And if you watch the DDP Sean Strickland fight and the Izzy Sean Strickland fight, you could see Sean Strickland, a lot of forward pressure. That's what he does as a fighter. But both these guys, if you look who fought under that pressure better, it looked like Israel. And Israel did it against Alex Pereira. His strength is really overlooked. People don't really talk about it. It's so underrated. He's got the reach advantage. They're both switch stance fighters. It should be an awesome fight. I think that Dricius is going to have a lot of forward pressure early on. I think Israel's going to pull like a spinning heel kick or, some type of flying knee or something. I think he's going to get some type of crazy kick and knockout like he's known for. I think he's back.
You think Izzy's back? I like it, man. I do too. It's not necessarily what I had hoped for. I was hoping that after Strickland beat Costa, he was going to get the shot at Dricus again. I'm not upset with it, though. I will say that. I'm not upset with it. I think that, to be fair, if anybody deserved to skip the line, it is Israel Adesanya. There's no denying that. I don't care how bad you hate the guy, how much you love the guy. You know that Israel Adesanya is, quite frankly, deserving of a shot at Dricus because we haven't seen that fight yet. We've seen what happened with Strickland and Dricus. Sure, it was an incredible fight. Don't get me wrong. I absolutely love watching that fight. Quite frankly, controversial decision. You either thought Dricus won or you thought Strickland won. I did not think that Dricus won that fight particularly, but it is what it is. I'm not a UFC judge. Sometimes I wish I was because sometimes I think that I'm quite frankly better than some of those guys. But I'm not there yet. So it is what it is. We got to deal with it. Dricus Duplessis is the middleweight champion of the world until Saturday night.
Yeah, one thing's for certain. Sean Strickland is going to get the title shot. They've already came out and say that. So whoever wins is going to be fighting Sean Strickland, it appears, if there's no injuries to happen or anything like that. But what you said is about DDP and, you want to see Sean Strickland rematch him. I think that you will see that at a point, because I'm not saying that DDP might end up running this division, unfortunately. Like, I'm not a big fan of him. I'm not a hater either, really, but he could run this division, dude. He's only 30 years old, and he's really overlooked. I mean, his resume is extremely good. I know he does some weird stuff. He's a questionable dude, but I mean, he just wins. I mean, people hate Blah, but he just wins, and it's hard to argue against the winner, dude. There's winners and losers, and that's the fact. It doesn't matter how you get it done. And DDP historically has been a winner, especially since he joined the UFC. So,
yeah, I mean, I don't disagree with that, but it's Israel Adesanya, man, I mean, that guy hasn't been beat much. I mean, it's Alex Pereira's beating him, Strickland's beating him. Who even is his other loss? I'm not even sure if I can even name the other loss off the top of my head, to be honest.
His other loss, I believe, was kind of early on in his career. I'm gonna go look right now. Well, no, it's in 2021. John Blachowicz by decision, unanimous at UFC 259. I don't know why I didn't remember that.
Yeah, I don't know why that didn't click for me either, but
that's crazy,
dude. I mean, I think it's Izzy by knockout. I'm not gonna change my mind on that, dude.
I definitely agree, but I definitely, I'm very confused about this whole card. I think that this is a really good card. The UFC matchmakers have been doing a pretty solid job, at least on paper. This is going to be a good card to watch, but one day we're going to have to get on here and talk about the middleweight log jam. And there's a lot of episodes before then and everything. There's an absolute log jam at middleweight. There's so many great guys, so many undefeated guys on win streaks. It's honestly insane how stacked middleweight is right now. And for years to come, they have a good mixture of older guys, guys in their prime, younger guys. It's absolutely insane. We talked about it. We touched down on it a few times, but I would like to do a full episode on it at some point. I think that would be really fun, because I could talk for hours on the middleweight division right now, to be honest.
Yeah, middleweight's freaking stacked right now, no doubt about it. I mean, you got 9 of the top 10 guys can fight for the belt right now, and quite frankly, would have a very legitimate shot at winning.
What is that guy? I mean, just to give you an example, your last ranked guy, you got Michael Pereira too. And then one of your lower ranked guys, that guy with the neck tat, I can't ever remember his name. I know his face, I know who he is. I've watched so many fights. It's the guy with the neck tat. I might have to pull that up real quick. You know who I'm talking about when I say his name. But he's got like the big old neck tat across his Adam apple and all that. Hold up, got a stall if you got anything to talk about. Well, I'll look up middleweight UFC rankings. I think he's ranked 15th as well. Dude, what is that dude's name?
It's not Roman Dolidze, is it?
No. He's a Brazilian guy.
Kyle Bohalla.
Yeah.
That's who I was thinking in the first place. Honestly, I'm not gonna lie. Like, I had that in my mind the whole time, and I was like, "That's gonna sound stupid."
Dude, you have so many people: Chris Curtis, Anthony Hernandez, Michael Pereira, Kyle Bohalla, Khamzat Chimaev, Rome Deleuze, Jack Hermanson, Paul Acosta, Brendan Allen, Marvin Vettori, Jared Cannonier, Amadov, Robert Whitaker, Israel, Sean Strickland, DDP. Like, that's insane, bro. That's absolutely insane.
Yeah,
I've never seen it.
I say we save that conversation and I think we do a video.
Oh, for sure.
I think we absolutely do a video on the stack. The aura, I guess you could call it, of the middleweight division right now, because it's insane. I mean, you got so many different.
Definitely a lot of good stuff planned for the podcast and stuff, and some stuff that's outside the Octagon coming up, and we'll keep you guys updated, I'm sure, on the Instagram. I think I have some big things planned for the community and stuff, and Charleston knows at the moment, but I'm not really ready to break the news quite yet.
Absolutely, man. But I mean, I think that's a wrap for this episode. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the UFC 305 preview. Hopefully we're right on all our picks. Obviously, Jude and I, one of us is gonna have to be wrong on 4 of the 6.
Yeah, I think that you may, if you click and watch the next video, give you a reason to come back for one thing, the secret we have going right now, and so stay around for that. We might announce that on the podcast at some point, and you could be seeing one of us in a clown wig on the next episode.
Absolutely.
It's not gonna be me. It's not gonna be me. Tell you that much.
First of all, I think you should have to wear the clown mask for the first like 7 episodes anyway, because I was on a historical run until we brought up.
Yeah, but I'm Dirty Dan.
I mean, I can't one up that, to be honest.
Hold up, that's low-key a good shirt idea.
Low key, we got to get that much going for these people, man. But that's gonna be a wrap for this episode, man. You got anything else you need to say?
No, that's it. Stay tuned, subscribe and everything, because we will do merch drops when we get to a certain point. We're definitely starting to grow. We're starting to hit stride and reach those numbers, and obviously follow the Instagram. Having some troubles with the TikTok. We're probably going to be having a Rumble soon. So much stuff, so much news, information. You can get us pretty much anywhere that you want to at this point. So you have no reason not to watch, not to stay tuned.
Absolutely, man. I mean, I like it. I like the direction we're going in. Follow us on Instagram, of course, at outside the Octagon Pod _. That's where you're going to be able to stay most up to date at, is right there. Thank you so much for listening. Leave a comment, drop a like, make sure you subscribe. That's going to be a wrap for this episode.